You are watching ABC7 News at 5:30.
Welcome back. The rain has cleared up, but the possibility of heavy rain continues through the rest of the week.
That's right. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan to find out what we can expect. Bob, what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you right now, heavy rain is falling in South Sarasota County and western Charlotte County, but it has ended in Manatee and North Sarasota for the time being. However, look at all this moisture continuing to work its way northwest right now through South Sarasota County, and it's lined up all the way down to Fort Myers. It's going to have a chance to continue too. It looks like in Inglewood and Northport. Look for some flooding concerns there as that rain regenerates even behind that heavier rain that occurred just about a half hour ago, all the way down to near Punta Gorda, all of it moving off to the north at around 10 to 15 miles an hour. Rainfall rates have been heavy, especially now into Inglewood. Not as much now in Northport near West Price Boulevard and Toledo Blade. Some showers now along I-75 and Clark Road. To the north of that, some rain light at that, building into Lakewood Ranch, but these storms have just popped up within the last half hour. Near Hidden River, and they are pushing off to the north. And as far as rainfall goes, it came down pretty heavy in downtown Sarasota. We had two rounds, one at around 1:30 and another one right around 2:30, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Well, all eyes are on the tropics. This looks like that's where the system is, but it's not. It's really right here off the coast of Belize and Honduras. All this low pressure area is going to do is going to kind of drift off to the north. It's a tail end of a trough of low pressure. It doesn't have much chance to develop at all on in through Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to drift to the north. Eventually, as it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, conditions are a little bit more favorable for it to develop. Not much, but a little bit. And water temperatures are marginal right now. But all the moisture appears to be on the right side of it. And it's going to take a long time to organize itself. And that means all this is going to kind of stay there and ride along with this low pressure system. And that puts Florida right in harm's way. The chances of it developing, 40% over the next 5 days, no chance over the next 2 days due to some dry air and some high wind shear going on with this system. Again, watching the tropics, this is Invest 90L, the first one of the season, and it's out of season. It looks like we'll see this system possibly become a tropical depression, maybe a low-end tropical storm, but it's not going to be a big wind maker for us. But on the right side of it, there's always a potential if it does start to generate itself a little bit, we'll get these bands coming through, and some of those at times can spawn small tornadoes. So that could also be an issue coming on Friday night, Saturday, and into Saturday night. We'll have more on the forecast path and tracks and the thinking coming up in just a couple of minutes. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Well, the sudden downpour in Sarasota this afternoon quickly turned a construction accident into a rescue operation.
Sarasota County's fire chief says construction crews were installing a large pipe at US 41 and 10th Street when the pipe slipped. A 44-year-old man fell down a 6-foot deep hole. Firefighters, a special ops team, and hazmat crews all rushed to the scene to rescue that man. And with the rain falling, water started moving in fast and filling up that hole. Firefighters had to use harnesses and ropes, but they were able to get him out in time. The worker was taken to a local hospital to be treated for his injuries. A recent construction project in downtown Sarasota is aimed at protecting the environment, specifically Sarasota Bay.
The construction on 10th Street inconveniencing drivers, but when it's all done, the project will help minimize the amount of pollutants that are going into the bay. ABC7's Dwayne Lindo explains how it works and why the construction is happening all underground. Dwayne?
Well, Jacqueline, Scott, good evening. Stormwater is the primary source of pollution going into Sarasota Bay. So what the city is essentially doing is installing a filter, keeping that unwanted debris from flooding or going into the bay, helping the environment in the long run. If you're going westbound on 10th Street near downtown, you'll eventually come to a complete stop, turning left or right for a detour. It's not road construction, but the city is installing what's called a baffle box, a unit cleaning stormwater runoff filled with styrofoam cups, cigarette butts, bottles, and other debris after a heavy rainstorm, essentially protecting Sarasota Bay. Public Outreach Manager for the Sarasota Bay Estuary, Darcy Young, says projects like these are important for keeping the bay healthy.
And unless that water is treated and filtered before it reaches the bay, all of those pollutants end up in the bay as well, which is bad for water quality and wildlife.
And as for the location where it's being placed, the City of Sarasota's project manager, Bill Nichols, says that is where it can be the most effective.
It is a 9-foot wide by 8-foot tall box culvert. It's the size of a room. That handles about 326 acres of drainage area right in the north downtown area, north of Fruitville.
Once completed, the trash collected will continue to be cleaned out by a Vector truck on a monthly basis. Construction costs for the project will roughly be $900,000 in addition to design costs. Overall, it will be a collaborative effort between the city, county, and Swiftmud.
We have a $1 million grant that we worked in conjunction with the Southwest Florida Water Management District and their water quality program, as well as participation by the county, Sarasota County, to match our 50-50 grant value.
Young pointing out that preventative measures are equally as important as this new eco-friendly baffle box.
The cleaner that we can keep the water before it gets to that infrastructure, the better off the bay is going to be.
Now, the city is looking at September 1st to have this baffle box up and running. Reporting live in Sarasota, Dwayne Lindo, your Suncoast News.
All right, Dwayne, thank you. A developer winning a $49 million judgment against the city of Sarasota. Back in 2007, developer Buck Leiter was selected by the city to build a mixed-use development where the Palm Avenue Garage and Art Ovation Hotel now stand. Then, while in the middle of negotiating a final agreement, city commissioners allegedly backed out of the deal. Well, Buck Leiter then sued the city for breach of contract. The court originally ruled in favor of the city in 2017. Then an appeals court reversed that ruling, reopening the case. And a recent 4-day trial ended Monday, ruling in favor of the developer. Sarasota City Attorney Robert Fournier said in a statement today, quote, "I will confer with the city's trial counsel regarding the outcome and basis for a possible appeal. There will be a report to the City Commission at the first opportunity later this month." The City of Venice is having a hard time coming to an agreement with a local nonprofit. Agape Flights has been working out of the City of Venice airport for a dozen years now, but the organization's lease is nearing its end and hasn't been able to reach an agreement with the city. ABC7's Christopher Brantley joins us live in Venice tonight. Christopher?
Good evening. Agape Flights is a nonprofit missionary company that flies food and relief aid to Caribbean countries like the Dominican Republic and Cuba. They're based here in Venice, but for how much longer?
Venice has long been the home of Agape Flights, its staff, and volunteers. The CEO, Alan Spear, wants to keep it that way.
That we would find common ground and that this would be our long-term home for many, many years.
But a disagreement with the City of Venice could move the company elsewhere. Agape owns the building, but the city owns the land. If an agreement isn't reached, the city could take over ownership of the building.
I've sent a third and final request to the airport director.
Spear sent 3 proposals to the airport director, Mark Servasio. Each detailed a 5-cent per square foot decrease in monthly rent while agreeing to make $250,000 worth of building improvements.
I've explained it's a bump in the rent, an increase in the rent now, and the improvements, and each time he's come back, he's proposed a reduction in rent.
Servasio denied each proposal, telling us there has to be an increase in rent because of the land's worth. However, Servasio has not countered with his own proposal.
I haven't made a counter offer, so to speak.
Servasio also wants Agape to make capital improvements to their building, which Agape has agreed to.
We are prepared to make a capital investment of almost $100,000 for a 35-year roof on this facility, which is a capital investment.
But Servasio disagrees that a new roof is a capital improvement.
A very valid argument could be made that that's maintaining the building as opposed to making improvements on the building.
Agape fears putting hundreds of thousands of donor-raised money into a building only to have the lease expire and the City of Venice take ownership away from them. But the city is thus far standing firm.
If they think that they're not being treated correctly here, that's a business decision that they have to make.
Now, Agape is very keen to point out that they pay more in monthly rent than the state of Florida suggests for an airport in Southwest Florida. And it's that kind of back and forth that could lead Agape to want to move elsewhere. Any contract negotiation, any finalized contract will have to go before the City Council for their approval or denial. Live in Venice, Christopher Brantley, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Okay, Christopher, thank you. More than 100 Uber drivers in the U.S. have been accused of sexual abuse or assault in the last 4 years. That's according to a recent CNN investigation. Investigators looked through police reports, court cases, and public records and found at least 103 Uber drivers in the U.S. have been accused of sexual assault or abuse since 2014. 31 of those drivers were connected on charges including battery and rape, with some cases still pending. One victim says she was drunk and passed out during an Uber ride, unable to consent to sex.
He violated me, and he traumatized me. To find out that it's like happened to other people, it really upsets me.
Coming up tonight on ABC7 News at 7, we'll share how Uber is changing its policies and safety procedures.
Florida Fish and Wildlife reports more than 340 manatees have already died in state waters this year. That's ahead of the 2017 pace when there were 530 deaths over the whole year. Now, a couple of unseasonably cold months early this year led to a significant increase in the number of cold stress deaths, with 69 so far this year compared to just 28 for all of last year. The other major cause of more than 40 manatee deaths so far, they were struck by watercraft. FWC says boaters need to keep their eyes open and their speed down while in manatee speed zones.
Watercraft, again, has been up the last couple of years, and we watch and we're following trends and seeing if there are any hot spots. We've put in a number of speed zones in areas where manatees are concentrated, and that's in an effort to reduce that type of mortality.
It's estimated there are more than 6,600 manatees in Florida waters, with the population more than doubling over the past 2 decades. But if you see a dead or injured sea cow, call FWC.
An update now on Florida's attempt to control an infestation of Burmese pythons in the Everglades. The state has been paying a select group of hunters to kill the invasive snakes on state lands in South Florida since March of last year. Today, a big milestone in that program. The 1,000th python has been captured and killed. Pythons are blamed for declining mammal populations across the wetlands. The hunting program was initially limited to Miami-Dade County, but has been expanded into Broward and Collier counties.
Some public shoppers have taken to social media over the grocery store chain's donations to Republican governor candidate Adam Putnam. Shoppers began using hashtag boycott Publix and hashtag tweet the receipt on social media after the Tampa Bay Times reported Publix has given $670,000 to Putnam's campaigns over the last 3 years. In the past, Putnam has called himself a proud NRA sellout. In response to the backlash, Publix posted it considers several factors when supporting a candidate, making a point to say it's never donated money to the National Rifle Association.
A national hero is welcomed home with a mortgage-free condo to live in. Purple Heart veteran Staff Sergeant Charles Gates served for more than a decade in the military. His career ended after his platoon was hit with 2 life-threatening bombs. Gates now suffering from traumatic brain injury, a spinal injury, and PTSD. Well, today, Building Homes for Heroes surprised Gates with this home in Sarasota, modified to help him rehabilitate. There are grab bars in all bathrooms to help Gates with stability. Also, a fountain on the patio to help him stay calm and deal with his PTSD.
It was just, a lot of emotions going on at once. Just letting me know there's still a lot of really good people out there. And, it's just amazing the effort that everybody put into this, and I'm just blown away by it.
It warms your heart. It makes you feel, that you're making a difference in the world. When the world can be so harsh and so bad, this is a good day.
Certainly is. Well, Gates says this home will help him reinvent himself and also start a new life outside of the military, which can be difficult for military members transitioning from military life to civilian life.
Yeah, he's got a big helping hand there today. Yeah, awesome. Still to come in your Suncoast News tonight.
The month of May is an important time to prioritize your eye health. We'll have some tips on how to protect your eyesight straight ahead.
You want a Maserati, but you need an SUV. Why not have both? Levante, the Maserati of SUVs.
Experience it at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Since 2004, Embracing Our Differences has used the power of art and education to promote diversity. One way it accomplishes this is through its annual outdoor exhibition of 45 billboard-sized works of art, each accompanied by an inspirational quote. Join us in creating a community that is inclusive for all, where differences are embraced and individuality is celebrated. We invite you to celebrate the voices and visions of diversity and inclusion at this year's exhibit at Sarasota's Island Park.
My credit score was not that great. I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free. You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
According to a new survey by U.S. News & World Report, 3 of Alabama's top 4 hotels and resorts are part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail Resort Collection. The Grand Hotel Marriott Resort in Point Clear, the Battle House Renaissance Mobile Hotel and Spa, and the Renaissance Birmingham Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa. Hey, we didn't invent Southern hospitality, we just offer more of it. Visit rtjgolf.com/resorts to find out more.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
There is a great new place to shop till you drop right here on the Suncoast. I'm Joey Panic. On Suncoast View, we'll learn about the new bazaar on apricot and lime and its dozens of local vendors. Then a Suncoast designer brings dresses that go from the desk to the dance floor, all with detachable trims. It's resort-style condos in Suncoast for sale, and Muse at the Ringling joins us in the kitchen.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
May is Healthy Vision Month. Here's Kim Hutcherson with some tips on how to protect your eyesight and overall eye health.
Vision problems are among the top disabilities for American adults, according to the CDC. Some 61 million people across the country are at risk for serious vision loss, the agency says, but only half that number have visited an eye doctor in the past year. But if they're diagnosed and treated early, many eye problems can be prevented. So the CDC and the NIH have designated May as Healthy Vision Month, a time to prioritize eye health. The most important thing you can do to safeguard your vision is have a comprehensive, dilated eye exam every year. Know your family's eye health history and talk to your optometrist about it. A diet rich in fruits and vegetables can also help. Everybody knows carrots are good for your eyes, but dark leafy greens are too. Maintain a healthy weight, avoid cigarettes, and protect your eyes when out in the sun or when playing sports. The CDC also recommends you give your eyes a break periodically, especially if you spend a lot of time focused on any one thing. Try the 20-20-20 rule. For every 20 minutes spent staring at a computer, look at a spot about 20 feet in front of you for 20 seconds. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, everyone's heard about it. The spoiler for the holiday weekend plans, and it looks as though a pretty good chance to get some heavy rainfall here along the Sun Coast on Saturday and Sunday. Looks as though this tropical system is having a hard go of it right now, but most of the moisture is to the east, and it is streaming right into Florida and will continue to do so. It's not going to change much at all over the upcoming days. As we can see, there's been some storms around here. Now, most of the activity, again, is scattered about in the afternoon and evening. That's going to be the case again on Wednesday and Thursday. And then Friday, we start to transition into more of a tropical watching as far as that goes. Now, the chances of it developing 40% over the next 5 days. The Hurricane Center will put out another percentage projection coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. Right now, next 2 days, no chance of development, and that's due to some strong wind shear going on down to our south. Forecast models, now there's two thoughts. One goes toward the lower Mississippi Valley. That's the European suites, if you will, and then there's another one. The GFS takes it closer to the west coast of Florida. And there's still a lot of uncertainty because the models don't see a low pressure yet. This is the shear forecast to take it through time. The red and orange is favorable for development. Right now, it's all in blue down to our south, but once it gets into the Gulf, the conditions will become a little bit more favorable for this to vertically stack, meaning it has a chance to increase and possibly deepen as a low pressure system moves into the Gulf. Water temperatures, I mentioned, are marginal right now, but they are still pretty warm right there in the central portion of the Gulf. And if it moves there, it's going to use some of that energy, but closer to home here, temperatures are not nearly as warm. In fact, 77 degrees off the coast of Venice right now. Water vapor, also a big issue. Dry air continues to move right into the system with that strong westerly shear going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And it still has to deal with a lot of dry air to the west of it if it were to try to develop in the Gulf. So it's got some factors it's got to actually go through in order to get to tropical storm status or even tropical depression status over the upcoming weekend. But for us, the steady stream of moisture continues. Same old song and dance as far as that goes. More storms again developing, especially over the same area repeatedly near Punta Gorda, Northport, Port Charlotte, and close to Inglewood, but it's been mainly to the east. Port Charlotte, though, seems to be getting the brunt of this particular cell. It's not all that intense now, but it is still pretty heavy rainfall there. And some light showers along I-75 into Clark Road. The Futurecast is indicating that we'll still see the chance for some scattered showers near the coast up until about 9, 10 o'clock tonight. Then things clear out quite nicely, and we look for another nice start to the day tomorrow. There'll be some sunshine, just like we saw today. Temperatures will warm into the upper 80s for us on Wednesday. Some scattered storms tomorrow for boaters in the afternoon. Southeast winds turn to the south at 10 knots. Seas running right around 2 feet. So the afternoon and evening thunderstorms a real possibility on Thursday. And then again, things start to transition on Friday as the system gets into the Gulf. And then we see a lot of clouds, good chance for showers and storms Saturday night, and into Sunday. Right now, depending upon the future movement of the storm, will determine how much rain we'll get right here. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Bob. Mark Zuckerberg is taking his Facebook apology tour to Europe this week. The Facebook founder testified at a European Parliament meeting today in the wake of the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Zuckerberg apologized for how Facebook was used to spread fake news and misinformation campaigns. He said he is committed to keeping Facebook users safe and will make changes to ensure that that happens.
For the first time in the history of the New York Stock Exchange, a woman will be in charge. The Wall Street Journal says Stacey Cunningham is set to take over as the big board's 67th president this week. Cunningham started as a floor clerk over 20 years ago. Most recently, she's been serving as the chief operating officer. She'll begin officially in her duties on Friday. Entertainment news is next.
Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru vehicles hold their value better than any other brand for 2018, according to ALG. And Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Outback is an IIHS top safety pick for 10 years running. Lease a new Subaru Outback today for just $249 a month. Or get 0% financing with zero down. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
I'll be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
So I kind of grew up all across the country. I come from 5 generations of military men. My dad is still active duty. My grandpa is retired Marines. I like going for runs with my dog. I love, taking her out to the dog beach over in Venice. There are so many things here to do on the Suncoast. My goal every day when I come into work at ABC7 is to tell your stories, give you that major local news and those details that you really care about. I'm Jacqueline Matter, and I'm here for you.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC7 is seeking a part-time digital media producer to write and post fresh, engaging content to our website. Excellent writing skills and newsroom experience required. Visit mysuncoast.com/job-of-the-day to apply.
Let's get a check on first alert traffic for the drive home. The DeSoto Bridge, a little congested this hour as you head north into Palmetto. We're also seeing some minor backups as you head south into Bradenton as well.
Maddie Poppy, congratulations, Maddie.
Well, 19-year-old Maddie Poppy is the new American Idol. It was between her and her boyfriend, Caleb Lee Hutchinson, for the title. The two announced their secret relationship during the season finale of Idol last night, shocking host Ryan Seacrest, the judges, and the audience. Not a bad ending to ABC's first season of the show, and it has been renewed for season 2.
Olympic medal-winning figure skater Adam Rippon and his partner Jenna Johnson are the winners of ABC's Dancing with the Stars Athletes Edition. Tanya Harding, Josh Norman, and Rippon all made it to the final 3, but it was Rippon's jazz routine and freestyle dance with Johnson that won them the coveted mirror ball.
And Miss Nebraska is your new Miss USA. Omaha's Sarah Rose Summers beat out 51 women from all 50 states for the title. The pageant took a serious turn during a pre-taped segment when contestants were asked if they had a Me Too movement or a Me Too moment, to which a number of them actually answered affirmatively. New this year, Miss USA was chosen by an all-female committee that included 4 past pageant contestants. Summers now goes on to represent the U.S. in the Miss Universe competition. And also, Florida was in the top 5, so that's
really?
good for us here
Okay.
in Florida.
Good deal. Congratulations. We'll be right back.